In the past 5 months, I've been able to do over $303,000 every single month, like you see here on my screen, for this one fashion e-commerce brand. Now, in this video, I want to take the time to kind of break down all of the steps from beginning all the way to the end. And of course, I'm not going to give away the product, but a general idea of what the product was, the overall landing page strategy, campaign strategy, titles, images, description, basically everything that influences your results with Google Ads. Now, before we do any of that stuff, let's go inside my screen right here, look at the actual results. So as you guys can see, from September 1st, I have it pulled up all the way to January 2023 until January 31st. I'm recording this video on February 1st, but in total, we have done about $1.5 million for this e-commerce brand right here. And if we just take a calculator and just open up right here, and we do a little bit of math. So I'm just gonna write those numbers in right into the calculator, divided by 5. That equals $303,376.80 every single month. Now, how are numbers like this even possible? That too with profits. Now, I'm gonna be very straight up. This number right here was not just achieved from Google Ads alone. There's a lot of other things that kind of came together with our Google Ads strategy, with our Google Ads effort to make this possible. But let's kind of start talking about first the overall campaign strategy, because before understanding the strategy, it doesn't make sense to look into the product, landing page, so on and so forth. So for this strategy, when we began to work with this e-commerce brand, by the way, this is under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing, which if you're currently doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand to the next level. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together and make that happen. But if we kind of go back in time all the way until September 1st and look at the results up until January 31st, we can see that there's been a lot of ups and downs for this e-commerce brand. However, we were still able to pull through and able to generate about $400,000 in revenue just from Google. Now, again, keep in mind, when we started, conversion tracking was a very, very big mess. So the number is a lot higher than this, but we're just gonna assume that we're working with these numbers. We spent $47,000. That leaves us with a 7.57x ROAS. Now, in terms of the strategy, how did we make it happen? If you kind of look at my screen right here, we actually only have just about 12 different campaigns running. It's a very basic setup, very straightforward, nothing too crazy. However, these 12 campaigns were enough to generate that much amount of revenue. And the only reason behind this is, like I always say in my other videos, even in my Google Ads Mastery course, it's all about segmentation. It's all about segregation, especially when it comes to e-commerce brands which have a lot of SKUs. So for example, this e-commerce brand, it had a ton of SKUs, thousands and thousands, just because in this case, you have sizes that you need to deal with. You have different colors that you need to deal with. So we had, in this case, 753 SKUs just for this campaign alone. This is not counting the thousands of SKUs within the other campaigns. We had to segregate it and just put 700 SKUs within this one campaign alone. But in essence, the only real main strategy we were following with this e-commerce brand to get it to this level was that of segregation. We segregated everything out based on the KPIs, based on the different collections. So for example, the PMAX campaigns, which we had running right here, and right now we really only have 2 different PMAXs. We segregated it by number 1, having it within the main collection. So one of the main collections of the brand, we have it running at $250 a day. And this other PMAX is just all of the products in there. We decided to segregate it this way simply because that's what was showing the best results. We tested a lot of different things out before, like based on profit margins, based on different collections. There's a lot of different collections this brand has, but this kind of layout, the 2 PMAX campaign layout, worked the best. So that's what we kind of stuck to right from the beginning. There's nothing really crazy we did in this case. We were optimizing the back end, we were optimizing the feed, making sure whatever results we were getting, we were looking at keywords to then further optimize the back end, and as the results came back positive, improve the budget. That's pretty much it. Now for the nitty-gritty details, like whether I had a T-ROAS set, target ROAS or not, it really didn't matter in the beginning, but did start the campaigns with was no kind of restriction, just so that the campaign could run, just so that it could get a lot of results and a lot of data, which was again the number one priority. But that's essentially what the campaign strategy was. It wasn't too crazy, just segmenting out based on the collection and then just having one with all products, and everything else just branded search campaigns. We had a couple of search campaigns for the best collections, and we also had some DSA campaigns, dynamic search campaigns, but we wanted to get a very holistic, very broad approach for this brand, because again, it's a fashion brand, a lot of factors that go into making this successful. But once the campaigns were running in the background during that time, it was essentially focusing more on the back end, the product itself, landing page, etc., etc. So now, if we take a little bit more of a closer look into what kind of product it was again, as I mentioned, more in the fashion niche, and it's more on the streetwear side of things. Now, for security reasons, I'm not gonna really mention what brand it was, but it was very similar to one of these brands. Now, I'm gonna go onto this brand right here, which is Elfric Eden. I hope I'm saying it right. It's a pretty complicated word to say, but the brand I'm referring to is a very similar brand to this one right here, with a very similar layout. Now, I mean, this is a very simple Shopify store. As you can see, we can see this upsell app right here, frequently bought together, and this overall layout, but the brand that I'm currently handling had a very similar layout to it. Now, what I want you to understand from this overall layout is not how they kind of added these little colors or these little buttons or these trust badges, but just the fact that they made their entire layout be what their audience wanted. So this is where 95% of e-commerce store owners fail. They try to copy some other brand they see on Google, thinking that that's the way to go. Instead, you should be more focusing on what your audience wants, what color they want, what kind of things trigger them to buy from you. So in this case, the brand I'm referring to was again in the streetwear fashion niche, and it had a very similar layout to this. I mean, in terms of the overall colors, very simple, very bland colors, because the people that buy these streetwear, if it's not really that colorful, if it's not in a crazy niche, it doesn't have to be too crazy in terms of the layout. So this was essentially how the layout was. Now, one thing that the brand did have was these trust badges, and they were custom trust badges as well, which is why I really do like the design of this e-commerce brand. It has fast shipping, easy refund, satisfied customer service, 900K followers on Instagram. As you can see, fully custom design. That's the main thing you want to understand of how it should be for your brand as well. But an ideal landing page should be one that suits your customers the most. Now, moving on to the description, as you can see, they have a little bit of a clip from TikTok right in their description. So if somebody clicks on it right here, first of all, they can see all of the interactions done with their ad right here from TikTok, from their post on TikTok, and people can actually go onto their TikTok and see more about the brand, which I think is really cool. It helps add a little bit of custom effect to the overall brand, which is what you want to be doing as well. But that was pretty much it for the landing page for the brand I'm currently handling. They didn't really invest too much into having it be completely custom or completely crazy, just something that their audience members want to see from it. Now, this brings us to the actual product. What was the product? First of all, in terms of the product, I'm referring to the overall keywords used. Now, in terms of the keywords, the brand that I'm handling was providing the exact keyword for the product that they were selling. So if it was, for example, streetwear, or for example, streetwear necklace, it was exactly what my brand was appearing for as well. So the number one thing, in fact, the brand I'm referring to is actually appearing here. I'm not gonna mention which brand it is right here, but it's in one of the top sections right over here. So in essence, what we did for that e-commerce brand is whatever keyword we wanted to go after, we made sure to include it within the actual keyword right over here. So for example, if it was streetwear necklace, we made sure to include streetwear or the word necklace somewhere within the title, because the number one thing to make your product successful with Google Ads, it's not really about the product. That's what so many e-commerce or owners fail to understand. It's more about your actual keyword and whether you're doing a good job of including that keyword in terms of the SEO for the e-commerce brand right here. So what we did right is we did a lot of keyword research more in the beginning. We ensured that whatever keywords we wanted to rank for were within the titles and the description. So I still recommend having the keyword, the main ones, at least appear no more than 3 times within the description. But it was pretty much very simple in terms of the strategy for the overall title, just again, proper search engine optimization techniques. So along with a good ad strategy paired with the perfect title and with the perfect landing page, that's when we really start to get majority of these results right here. But that's not it, because there's a lot more that goes into finding success with Google Ads. We kind of went a bit broad, and we then went further into choosing the right images for that e-commerce brand. Now, in terms of the image, it's like what I always say, your image, you don't need to go out and hire a professional photographer or a videographer to get the right image. Instead, it should more be about what stands out from the crowd. So in essence, if a lot of these images right here are white background images, what I was doing was I was making sure that the main image I was using for shopping ads at least was like, for example, somebody wearing it. That's simply because I wanted to make sure my ad was standing out from the rest. And the perfect example of this, maybe if we just take out streetwear and just look at necklace, for example. So in essence, the best way to stand out with a product like this, it's not just to have a product image where it's on a white background or maybe a slightly colored background like that one. It's to have a background where maybe it's on a real lifestyle background, or maybe somebody is wearing that necklace. Those are really the best ways to stand out. Like for example, this image right here would have done perfect on that last page we were looking at. And that's simply because it helps you stand out without taking a lot of extra for photography or without really complicating that process. And trust me, image is 95% of the success when it comes to Google Shopping ads. That's why we focus so much on choosing the right image, but we're not done there yet. That brings us to the next part, which is pricing. Now, for all the e-commerce brands I handle under my Google Ads agency, we don't really change up the pricing too much. It's more about just having the right kind of suggestion for the pricing. I do suggest a lot of pricing changes for the brands that I handle. So in this case, for example, if we were trying to sell this kind of necklace right here, maybe it was a diamond necklace, maybe it was a gold necklace, regardless of what it would be, we would want to have pricing which is in essence somewhere in the middle. Even if it's a crazy diamond necklace, even if it's a crazy gold necklace, the pricing should reflect other diamond necklaces or other gold necklaces. For example, right here, we see this diamond necklace, 18 karat gold as well, so we're not really sure if it's diamond or gold, but let's say it's diamond, $365. If you want to sell a diamond necklace, you don't come in here and you don't sell your diamond necklace for $50 million, because that's just not relevant to the overall listings around you. So even if your diamond necklace is worth $50 million, it's simply not gonna sell because you're not relevant to your competitor. So that's one thing we really focused on to make sure our brand that we were working with had the best possible chance of having their product sell when it came to the overall funnel approach of Google Shopping ads. But that kind of brought us to the description. Now, I didn't really cover the description much here. I did say you should have SEO keywords in here, you should have videos in here, but you do want to make sure that you are putting a little bit of effort into your description. So that means don't just have a little bit of text here. This is what I think this brand did a bit wrong. They just have this 2 sentences for descriptions, which I don't really think is ideal. There should be a bit more effort going into it and more videos and possibly images going into it. But again, for the description, I normally don't recommend that you go all in with the description and go hire somebody to write a complete essay for your product unless that product is a winning product. That's what we do for the e-commerce brands I'm working with. If the product really starts to take off, that's when I suggest that we go in, we improve things, we make it better, so on and so forth. But that's essentially when you want to be taking things to the next level. But that kind of brings us to the overall reviews. Now, in terms of the reviews, you want to keep things very simple, very straightforward. Unfortunately, this e-commerce brand has 0 reviews for this product, which I don't really like. So we're going to go back and maybe look at this product right here, look at the kind of review layout that they might have going on right here. So If you scroll all the way down, we can see that they do have reviews here. This is very good. This is exactly how you want, where at the top is just a bunch of different customer images showing up for the reviews. And then below that, you can have like a little verified buyer symbol there to kind of signify that the people leaving those reviews are real people and not just somebody that you paid to leave a review for you. And make sure the reviews that are detailed are at the very top. These are very small, intricate details, but they play a very big role in making sure your product and your landing page has the effect it needs to convert at a very high level. But to kind of recap everything we went over, so it was all about really building a very strong foundation from the base up. In this case, it was doing SEO for the product pages, doing SEO for the product titles, improving the images, making sure the back end was properly set up for success with Google. Because again, one of the biggest misconceptions 99% of e-commerce owners have is they think success from Google Ads is all about what you do or what you click on the campaign side, which is partially true, but it's not fully true. There's a lot of things that go in the back end that make your Google Ads campaign successful. So for this brand, in order to do 1.5 million in those 5 months, we had to fix up the foundation. We had to really make sure every small step of the funnel was in place before then going on to the Google Ads side of things. Now with Google, it was just following the generic strategies I'm always talking about on my YouTube channel, like segregating the products based on KPIs, based on collections, testing different campaign types out, shopping, search, display, etc., etc. But it was a lot of testing and then scaling what works. So again, for your own e-commerce brand, this might seem like a lot for you. Just understand you need to take it step by step. You don't just go from step 1 to step 10 all in one night. It's about taking things one by one at a time and then taking it to the next level based on whatever is profitable, whatever is getting you results. But if you're at the stage where you already have that amazing Google Ads strategy going, you already have everything in the funnel laid out, and you really want to know how to optimize your funnel, how to optimize your Google Ads campaigns, watch this video right here on the left side to understand my exact optimization strategy and how I do it for the e-commerce brands I'm handling. But again, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your e-commerce brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together and make that happen.